Jennifer Gibbons looked at her twin sister and said, "I have to die so you can live." A few hours later, on a bus driving through Wales, her heart stopped. She was 29 years old. She was physically healthy, no drugs, no poison, no trauma. Doctors could not explain how she died. But minutes after Jennifer's death, something even more terrifying happened. Her twin sister, who had been silent for 29 years, opened her mouth and spoke. This is not a ghost story. This is not a myth. This is not a metaphor. This is the true story of the silent twins and the pact that ended one life to save another. June and Jennifer Gibbons were born in 1963, identical twins, 10 minutes apart, to parents from Barbados who had moved to the UK in search of a better life. Their father worked for the Royal Air Force, which meant the family moved often before settling in a small Welsh town called Haverfordwest. It was quiet, it was isolated, and in the 1970s it was almost entirely white. June and Jennifer were the only black children in their school. They were stared at, mocked, bullied. Every day taught them the same lesson. The outside world was hostile, so the twins made a decision, one that would define the rest of their lives. They would reject the world before it could reject them again. First, they stopped answering questions in class. Then they stopped speaking to teachers. Eventually, they stopped speaking to anyone, including their parents. They retreated into their bedroom and closed the door. Inside that room, the silence disappeared. The twins spoke to each other in a rapid private language, so fast and distorted it sounded like birds chirping. Psychologists call this cryptophasia, a secret twin language. But this wasn't just communication. It was a fortress. As the years passed, their bond intensified into something disturbing. They walked in perfect synchronization, mirrored each other's movements, refused eye contact with anyone else. To outsiders, they weren't two people. They were one organism split into two bodies. And inside that organism, something dark was growing. Locked away from the world, the twins became obsessive creators. They wrote novels, violent thrillers set in California. They recorded radio plays. They built entire imaginary worlds. But their bond wasn't equal. Jennifer was dominant. June followed. In her diary, June wrote something chilling. "Nobody suffers the way I do. This sister of mine, a dark shadow robbing me of my own sunlight, is my one and only torment." They loved each other. They hated each other. They could not survive apart, and they could not survive together. By the time they were 18, imagination wasn't enough anymore. They wanted to experience the danger they wrote about. With no social skills and no sense of consequence, the twins spiraled, drinking, glue sniffing, and then fire. They began setting buildings ablaze. For 5 weeks in 1981, Wales was terrorized by two silent arsonists. They were caught easily, and for the first time, the twins felt relief. They believed the system would help them. They were wrong. Instead of prison, a judge sent them to Broadmoor Hospital, a high-security psychiatric facility that housed some of Britain's most dangerous criminals. They were 19 years old. They would remain there for 11 years. Doctors believed their bond was the problem, so they did the unthinkable. They separated them. The result was catastrophic. Without each other, the twins became catatonic, frozen, unresponsive. Nurses reported finding them standing in identical positions, miles apart at the same time. They were heavily medicated. The creativity vanished. The writing stopped. Time dissolved. And somewhere during those years, Jennifer reached a conclusion. Jennifer realized the truth. As long as both twins were alive, neither would ever be free. There wasn't room in the world for both of them. One had to die, and Jennifer chose herself. Days before their transfer to a lower security facility, Jennifer told her lawyer, "I'm going to have to die." When asked why, she replied, "Because we decided." On March 9, 1993, the twins boarded a secure bus. Jennifer rested her head on June's shoulder. She whispered something only her sister could hear. Then she closed her eyes. By the time the bus arrived, Jennifer was unconscious. Doctors tried everything. Nothing worked. At 6:30 p.m., Jennifer Gibbons was pronounced dead. The autopsy made no sense. Cause of death, acute myocarditis. No virus, no toxins, no explanation. It was as if Jennifer's body had obeyed a command. And then the silence broke. Almost immediately, June began to speak. Calmly, clearly, normally. For the first time in 29 years. In her diary, June wrote, "I am free at last. Jennifer has given up her life for me." June was eventually released. She lives quietly now. She talks to neighbors. She goes shopping. She is normal. Every week, June visits a grave. On the headstone is a poem she wrote for her sister. "We once were two, we two made one. We no more two, through life be one." We may never know how Jennifer died, but one thing is certain. She kept her promise, and the silence ended with a sacrifice.